Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 36 of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcillo, joined by my best buddy in the whole wide world, Lee Elias, over in Philadelphia, feeling much better this week. Lee, how's it going?
Ray, I survived. Lee is out 2019, heading towards 2020. I'm feeling much better. I gotta admit, you held your own last week without me. I was jealous of your non-existent co-star. But you, sir, are a professional. You did it. I do appreciate the welcome back. For those of you wondering, there's no way I could have podcasted. I was really down and out with an illness, but I'm good. I'm back. I'm 100% now. I'm with my best friend in the world over Los Angeles, Ray Carcillo. Ray, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good, buddy.
That's not true. That's not true.
I'm feeling
That's not true.
Better now that we hit the record button. So,
yeah.
I'm just very exhausted. For those of you who are watching the video of this, you'll see my background is completely different this week.
It is.
It's because I had a massive renovation done to my apartment. I'll tell you more about that at a later date. But as you just get used to, minus the boxes. The boxes hopefully next time.
Who are the two action figures all the way behind you? There are. I see two pieces of geekdom all the way behind you.
So all the way behind me, the ones over there, that is Marcus Phoenix, and that is Goku, Super Saiyan Goku.
So
Super Saiyan.
Gears of War and Dragon Ball Z.
Yes. So I was able to retain at least some of my geeky stuff. It's still on display here. Maybe I'll do a video tour of the new apartment once I'm done unpacking. I've still got a lot of games and stuff that I need to put back in their place.
So for those of you, again, listening, not watching, and we can't talk about this in depth, but in depth, not in death. In depth, we can talk about all this stuff. But Ray, very bachelor patty, but still there's just this two little spikes of geekdom that will expand. But so do you get to keep your card this week as the king of all geek media? There was a chance there that I would have taken it, but no. Sir, you you have retained it in what looks like to be a beautiful apartment. Again, we'll talk about that later. We've got a lot to talk about today.
Yes,
Ghostbusters, Star Wars, Xbox, sports. Geekdom, geeks who like you know where I'm going. Anyway, we want to get some little kind of tidbits out of the way because there's actually some really other big geek news this week that isn't going to be at the forefront because like Top Gun trailer came out this morning and stuff. By the way, it's Monday when we're recording this. It's the week before Xmas and Hanukkah, so just that's where we're at. But I'm going to let Ray take back over here because there's some pretty it'd be big news any other week that we had to go through real quick.
Yeah, no, it has been an absolute deluge of information. Also, just very quickly want to mention I am my Geeks Who Like Sports mug is missing somewhere, so I'm drinking out of my Prey mug, the TransStar Corporation this week. And the reason why, I enjoyed that game. It was actually a very good game, but it didn't do very well because a lot of people got confused because it was poorly named. Prey was a game that came out in 2006. This was a completely different game. And for some reason, people got confused and then were disappointed, and so it didn't do as well.
What would you have named it? Now we have to know.
Oh, goodness.
You have 3 seconds elevator pitch. Go.
Oh, God. I mean, it's BioShock or System Shock in space, so I would say Space Shock. Space Shock.
Better name than Prey. I thought you were going, oh, God, for a minute. That wouldn't have been a great name.
No, that wouldn't have been a good name.
Evangelist would have been all over you.
Yeah, but the
Space
reason
Shock.
why I wanted to mention a terrible name is because at the Game Awards last week, Microsoft announced the new Xbox Series X. Now,
brilliant.
This is basically what Xbox Scarlet was, right? The code name. Again, another example, ladies and gentlemen, of the code name being better than the actual name.
Yep.
I don't understand how Microsoft's naming department still continues to mess this up generation after generation.
Just real quick, let's just give it. I know most of you know this, but let's just give a really quick history example, a lesson here. First Xbox was called the Xbox, Microsoft Xbox.
Yes.
Then came Xbox 360.
Yes, which was cool because it's like, okay, cool. It's all we get it all encompassing.
All right, okay. Yeah. Then the most popular name of whatever Xbox One, followed by a million products that had one after it. Xbox One, right? They even remade the first version of Videos One, and now we have Xbox Series X, not to be confused with Tesla Series whatever. As you said, Ray, the press has dubbed it
the Xbox Sex.
What is wrong with these people? This was so obviously not what you called it. I mean, again, the code name was way better. They should have switched the colors.
I would have loved had they kept it to scarlet and made it like a blood red or something.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look, I will say this. It looks like an old school computer tower, folks. It's kind of small, rectangular. It's more vertical than it is horizontal. It's an interesting choice. It still has a disk drive, which is critical. We believe this will probably be the last console generation to have disk drives. But the reason why they did it is because they wanted to make sure and let people know right off the bat it is completely backwards compatible. Which is
cool.
a big deal.
Is that all the way back? Folks. Like all the way back to Xbox?
I don't know if it goes all the way back to Xbox. It goes at least to Xbox One, and that makes me believe it will also do Xbox 360.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Xbox One is backwards compatible with that. But don't quote me on that. But they say backwards compatible, so at the very least, you know that all of Xbox One games will play on the Xbox Series X.
Interesting, very interesting.
So
the Xbox X.
Yes.
They should have just owned it. Like, iOS, Apple, and Microsoft. They cream cheese sandwich and whatever Cookie Monster. Like they owned it. Like they're stupid. We're gonna keep going stupid. Yeah. Xbox like, listen. Here's my pitch, Ray. We're going to go from numbers to letters. Ladies and gentlemen, I have solved the problem. No, Scarlet was a much better name. They could have gone to like off colors. The next one would have been Xbox, neon green.
Yeah.
Right?
You could have done so many different things with that. Like
anyway, there it is. Xbox X.
Yeah, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox
These
X.
people get paid for this.
Yeah, I know.
Millions of dollars poured into that name, man.
I know. I don't understand how people continue to fail upwards in the industry, but they do. Anyway, the Game Awards was last week. The Game Awards decided that Sekiro was the game of the year. I completely disagree with that. What else is new? I'm just glad it wasn't Death Stranding. Which is of course Kojima basically smelling his own farts. And then of course, my game of the year was Control. I think actually we allowed Sekiro to take it was that we were kind of deciding this might have been a split vote. Was that there were so many people and there were so many games that were kind of actually about even level in terms of quality that the votes were very scattershot.
Which game needed more sales going into the holiday?
Oh, you know what? Probably Sekiro.
Thus proving our theory that this is just a holiday grab bag and that the actual awards later in the year next year will really have the show for the title.
Yeah, the DICE Awards are the actual Oscars of the game industry, folks. It is what it is. I mean, Keighley puts on a good show. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, although we talked about this, Green Day performed because they're adding a pack to Beat Saber, and I love Green Day. I am a huge Green Day fan. Lee can attest to this.
Oh yeah, we both are.
Yes.
Yeah, since the 90s, since the early 90s, by the way, not like the second or third or fourth generation of Green Day, like the original, Kersplat, Dookie. Those were the first albums we listened to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's. Even if you're a latecomer, maybe Nimrod, but still,
we're the whole way. We're the original. The whole way. Like for those of you in high school that think they're a new band, we've been listening to them for 30 years.
Yeah, no, exactly. But like the crazy thing is that I felt bad for them because this was not their audience.
No,
like I was in my suit and tie. I was rocking out. I was banging my head. I threw up my horns. I was like, I was so happy to see Green Day live because I'd never seen them live. And I think I was one of 6 people maybe in the audience who was really, really enjoying it. I mean, Billy Joe Armstrong was he's like, hey guys, it's a rock concert. You can have some fun.
Nope.
Like, he had a little Christopher Walken in there for some reason, but it's like, hey guys,
hey,
I'm playing the rock music here.
Yeah.
You can dance.
I got a fever.
Yeah, but it was really so that was sad, but it was a good show overall. Good. Again, the big announcement was the Xbox X.
No.
It's a big deal.
So dumb, man. Come on. How do you not know that's going to happen, or did you want it to happen? I mean, geekdom's at new levels now. We're not just nerdy kids in our room that don't get out and, the opposite sex is like a foreign thing for us anymore, right? It's 2019. Get with the time. Get with the time at Microsoft. Jeez. Noob.
Unbelievable. Also, today, again, we're recording this on Monday, December the 16th. A new Top Gun Maverick trailer came out. Looks pretty good.
This is all I'm going to say about that, okay? Two things. One is that movie looks fun as hell, and that's how you should be going into it. This is not a movie you go into like, I need in-depth storylines. I need them to continue Maverick's story and Goose. Like you're probably going to get some of that. Here's the thing. My guess it's going to be the same frickin' movie, updated with maybe a different ending or something like that. I'm totally okay with that because here's why. This is the second half of this. Because I read that Tom Cruise, who is amazing to me, Tom Cruise halted production on this film, I think, for a year so he could learn how to fly a jet, which is, that's, Tom Cruise, you can do that. Like, no, I think it'd be more authentic if I was in the jet, right?
Yeah, if I actually did these moves.
So I think it's actually him a lot of the times in that jet, but probably not doing the super acrobatics. No, it might be aerobatics. I might be right.
Yeah, because it is aerospace. So
yeah, we're just gonna trust that I'm right. So no, the trailer looks really fun. It looks really good. I will pay money to see that because I want to have fun in the movie theater, and that's why I'm going. Again, no expectations other than I'm gonna see some really amazingly cool aircraft jet footage. Maverick. It's Goose's son, whose name is Rooster, by the way. I saw that on his helmet, which is that's what I'm saying. Like don't go into that film being like, this is I need an in-depth. I need to feel. No, this is 1980, whatever Top Gun remade in 2020. Enjoy it. Please, please.
My only concern is that we got as usual we got the best moments in the trailer. That's my one concern.
I don't think we did. I'll be honest with you.
No, I don't think so either. But I hope. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Yeah. Because I remember the original Top Gun very clearly, and I wish there was more dogfighting and more combat in that.
Well, here's the thing: if I remember correctly, there's a lot of controversy in this film about the conflict in the film is about drones, like drone aircraft, and not needing human-led. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's going to be a new element to it, and the climax is going to be like, oh, the drones can't handle the dogfight. Who do you call in? On his motorcycle, it was Maverick with all his hair, son of a bee. Anyway, that movie looks really fun. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And here's something I don't know if you know this, Ray. A lot of people don't know this, but Top Gun actually did not do well in the theaters.
Yes,
when it was released. Yep. Yeah, in fact, Tom Cruise talks. That was his first, I think, world tour that he ever went on, and the movie didn't. I don't know if it flopped, if that was the word they used, but it didn't do well. Like, it wasn't a big hit. It was only when it came out on home video that it actually became a massive hit, which is something that happened in the 80s. If you guys follow our Geeks Who Like Sports page, I actually shared a VHS trailer for the Batman movie from 1989, which I guess the VHS came out probably in 90. But VHS releases, I'd say even more than DVD releases, were a big deal. I mean, you could really make a movie doing that. Today,
it could save a franchise. VHS releases could save a franchise.
Yeah, and it did. It did with Top Gun. And I mean, the video game that followed up was also. I mean, nobody can land on the battleship, but I mean the aircraft carrier. But the point is this: is that really, it's different now with streaming, and now movies are coming directly to streaming immediately within days, sometimes literally within days. Like The Irishman was only in the theater for I think a week or two. But yeah, VHS Top Gun really saved that franchise. Just something to show you, like if a movie's good and fun and it connects with an audience, you never know.
Yeah, although actually, as I'm looking it up here, actually it did pretty well. It did $300 million internationally in 1980s.
Yeah, well, I remember Tom Cruise saying that it didn't do what they wanted it to do.
Yeah, it had a poor opening. I mean, you got to remember also, folks.
Maybe that was
it. Yeah, you could have a movie in theaters for 9 months.
That's true too.
You can't do that anymore. Like, if you get 9 weeks, that's a long run nowadays. Whereas this had a very long run in theaters. Yeah. Because also, and that's true too. That's also part of the reason for that is because it took them almost a full year to get all these copies made onto VHS. Because you have to remember, now things are so super quick with digital. Back then, putting things onto VHS took forever. So for them to have enough movies, enough copies to be sold at stores, it takes a long time. Took them a long time to do that. So it makes sense that I think it had a poor opening weekend, but would end up having actually a pretty good run in the long run because it spent so much time in theaters.
Today you get 2 weeks, and if it doesn't work, you're out.
Yeah, right. So that's says something. Another great, amazing trailer last week. It literally came about 12 hours after I recorded the solo show.
That's true.
And this one, I am super pumped for.
I think we both are.
Ghostbusters Afterlife. To me, it looks amazing. Like, I mean, there's one little thing that me and Lee we're talking about that might be like a little breaking the timeline in a way, but the idea is Egon seems to have followed Shandor, as in the dude who built Dana Barrett's apartment in the first movie.
Yes.
Followed his trail to Middle America, somewhere in the Midwest. Obviously has passed on, leaves the farmhouse to his family, and his granddaughter looks to be discovering the family legacy, as well as a whole lot of ghosts in this small Midwestern town. And I can't wait to see how they bring back the originals. I can't wait to see. We saw in the trailer the Hellhound.
Yep.
We saw. I mean, obviously, there's a huge unnatural occurrence here.
Ecto One.
The Ecto One is a big part of it.
With the gunner seat.
With from the cartoon, the
That's
gunner
awesome.
seat, which makes you think how much more of the lore they're going to tap into. Is the cartoon full canon? Are they going to touch upon stuff from the video game? Like, it is a full. I absolutely when I saw Shandor mining, I flipped out. Out.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the only question that me and Lee have is, where was Egon's kid during this whole time if his daughter already has a bunch of kids who are in their teens?
So let's rewind a little bit. A few things about Shandor. So some of the deeper geeks are going to know who that is. So Shandor is the person that made the followers of Gozer in the first movie, which is what makes the Marshmallow Man and Gozer show up. A lot of people lose that in the film because it is a comedy and it was awesome. But there actually is a very deep research into supernatural. For those of you who don't know, Dan Aykroyd is a maniac for supernatural stuff. I mean, if you listen to that man speak about it, it's actually terrifying. Yeah. Right? Because he's really into it. Like, he's really into it.
I saw him do an interview on Conan once where he just went off on a tangent for it.
It's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortably into it. But the Shandor and Gozer, like, that stuff was really, in terms of, like, when Ray and I are in production and development, like, one of the things that made Ghostbusters so good is that script is really well thought out. I mean, there's a deeper story there that you don't see it on the surface. But and then they followed that up, obviously, in the Ghostbusters video game, which Ray has always said it is essentially Ghostbusters 3. It was like a script for Ghostbusters 3. And that revisits Shandor and Gozer. And
actually ties the two movies together, where even the slime was one of Shandor's plots.
Right, and I'm assuming they're going to, and again, a lot of these are one-line throwaways. That's what I call them when you explain something away in one line. But like, I wouldn't be like, if they want to do that in the film, they could just throw that away and say, hey, look, all of Ghostbusters 2 was the slime was from Shandor. You know, that explains that entire movie and why Vigo came and so much and so forth. But so they're at the Shandor mine. So Shandor at least if you follow the script from the original Ghostbusters, in the late 1900s, like the 1918 or something like that. At the end of the First World War, he creates the follower of Gozer, and that's where that starts. And that mine was created in 1920-something, 23. I can't remember the year from the trailer. Right. So something is going on at that mine, and what Ray and I were discussing, which we don't understand, is if that granddaughter, if that's we don't. We're going to assume, I'm just going to be with Ray here. We're going to assume that Egon is the grandfather, okay? Just because that's the way the trailer does it. But it doesn't make sense. That would mean that he had children during the first Ghostbusters movie, unless his daughter had a child at like 16, 17 years old, which is possible.
Yes, of course.
You know, but like if it takes place after Ghostbusters 1, you're already pushing it. After Ghostbusters 2. But again, we talked about one-lines. Yeah. Maybe he had a family. He didn't want to tell the other Ghostbusters about his family. There's 100 ways they could explain this away. And then there's no father, too, to the granddaughter. That's also a huge mystery.
Yes.
All right, so there's something there as well that obviously needs to be uncovered. Also in the trailer, you hear Bill Murray's voice in the trailer, which is also very exciting.
Yeah.
Call it karma.
Yes. Yeah.
So very well done trailer. There is some slight backlash from fans of the other. What was the other Ghostbusters movie called?
It was just Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Wasn't it? The 2016 one with the
20s. There is some. There is some slight backlash. It's nothing from Ray and I. It has nothing to do with a female or non-female cast. It's just that it's negating that movie. And I will tell you my stance on that. It deserves to be negated. It has nothing to do with the cast. It has everything to do with a very poor script, a very lazy script.
Yes.
That they took a ad-lib atmosphere and brought it to Ghostbusters, and I remember at the time that in 2016, the comeback to that was, this movie isn't for you, it's for kids. And I disagree. I'm sorry. I don't, when you're dealing with canon.
It's for everyone.
It's for everyone. Yeah, it's definitely not negating kids, but no, this is a sacred. This is Geeks Who Like Sports. This is a sacred property to us. Okay, and you messed with it. And I also remember they didn't say if it was a reboot or not. It was clearly a reboot. And again, it was just very lazily done. I will say this, and then I will let Ray talk. I will say this is that had that movie not been called Ghostbusters, like I tried to watch it again, removing Ghostbusters lore from it. You know what I mean? Like the branding. And it's not a horrible film. It's still forgettable, but it's not a horrible film. It's funny. It's got its moments. Right. But it's not worthy of the mantle of Ghostbusters. This next trailer we saw looks to be like it will be. It's an original story that continues the original story, right? And it clearly has Stranger Things vibes to it.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So definitely looking forward to this film in 6 months.
Yeah, I know.
Along with everything else, by the way.
It's so long, so far away. But no, and I agree with you, Lee, and we've talked about this before in the show. The problem with the 2016 Ghostbusters film wasn't the cast.
No.
If anything, it was the director, Paul Feig, who helped write it, too. And again, it's the fact that it negated... You're saying, well, this negates the 2016 Ghostbusters? Well, the 2016 Ghostbusters tried to negate the 1980s Ghostbusters.
That's right. That's very fair. Very fair.
I mean, that's the thing. I think that you could have made everybody happy. All you had to do was do what they're doing here. Make it a passing of the torch movie. Have the older Ghostbusters. They're too old to do it anymore. It's getting hard. You need to find replacements. And they've happened to find... They could have easily had Kate McKinnon and Melissa McCarthy and those characters as like proteges of Ray Stantz and Peter Venkman and whatnot. Like, you could have easily done that.
Yeah.
Like,
the movie's a victim of its time. It's a victim of its time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so, this is just setting things right, unfortunately. And look, and you're gonna have a diverse cast who's gonna take on the mantle of the new Ghostbusters, and it's gonna pass it along and maybe continue the franchise the way it should have continued in the first place.
Yes.
So, but that's a whole other thing. We got a lot more geek stuff to get to.
We do.
Of course, this is we've touched on a lot of other stuff, but this is Star Wars season.
It is.
It's
really Star Wars week.
Season.
Star Wars week right now. We're in it. Friday for me, jerk.
Yes. We're only a few days away from Star Wars Episode 9 being released worldwide. But of course, leading into that, Lee has beaten Star Wars Fallen Jedi.
I have.
We've watched The Mandalorian Episode 6, The Prisoner.
It's a good time. It's a good time, Ray.
Yes, and that's where I want to start with, because The Mandalorian also, by the way, Episode 7 drops earlier this week. It does not drop Friday. It drops Wednesday. So if you're an early adapter to the podcast, this is your reminder. Episode 7 of The Mandalorian drops early this week. It drops Wednesday. And now time for our Mandalorian Episode 6 spoiler cast. So remember, this is all spoilers ahead. You've been warned, forewarned. We even waited 25 minutes into the episode before we actually did the spoilers. So, Episode 6, Mandalorian. Another side adventure, but you get a little bit more of the Mandalorian's past here. You meet a crew who he used to run with, a girl a Twi'lek who he used to have a relationship with, and in true Mandalorian fashion, he seems to be throwing off the shackles of his past, to overcome and continue his undaunted protection of Baby Yoda, and he does it in the most badass way possible.
He does
in this episode.
He's the best.
Quick note: lots of guest appearances this episode.
Amazing amount of cameos in this. Well, not cameos, right? Just people.
Basically, the crew that he runs with is all guest stars. So the first one you meet, he gets to this outpost. He needs some money. He needs a job, and he comes across this guy who he used to run with, ironically called Ran. Ran is played by the guy who played.
We got to do it, Ray. We got to do it. I don't know. I swear to God.
Yeah, swear to me.
Yeah. Well, they don't like falafel.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Detective Flass from Batman Begins plays Ran, who's kind of like this shady, like smuggler guy who. He's getting a little old. Obviously, he's got a gray beard, and he's like, I can't do it anymore, but I got a crew for you. And Bill Burr, the celebrated comedian with his fully Boston accent, so there is a Boston somewhere in Star Wars.
Mayfield, who was awesome. Mayfeld, excuse me. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Even had time to make a Gungan joke in this episode. It was great.
Yeah. He had a Gungan joke. There was a joke where he's like ex-Imperial sharpshooter, and
that was one of the best
Mandalorian's like, well, that's not saying much, and he's like, I wasn't a stormtrooper.
That's a joke that needs to be made. The show is very self-aware. I really love that about it. It proves that the Boston accent was created in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago. Yes.
But you had Clancy Brown played this guy Berg, I believe,
Berg.
Big
Awesome.
alien. I can't remember the species. Red skin with horns.
Deveronian.
Deveronian. Yes, thank you. Yes. For those of you who don't know who Clancy Brown is, besides doing some voices of
Come on, Highlander.
Yeah.
It's better to give out and to fade away. It's just the best, man. And
Yes,
he's in
he's
50
done-
other things. He's also the
he's done-
crab in Sorry, go ahead, Ray. You're trying to do.
Yes, he's in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes.
He, of course, was voices in Star Wars. I think it was Clone Wars or possibly Rebels. One, if not both of the cartoons. But for me and Lee, probably, he is the iconic voice of Lex Luthor in the Superman cartoons from the 90s, Superman the Animated Series.
Yes. Yes.
So he also does Chevy commercials. Like, he's just a prolific voice actor.
Yeah. Well,
so for him to be
he was Kurgan. He was Kurgan in Highlander too. For those of you who go back to the 80s with us.
Yeah. So like, I mean, it just epic to see him on screen. Also, speaking of Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars, the dude who plays Anakin Skywalker makes a cameo in this as the prison ship pilot.
Yep.
But yes, so we're getting ahead of ourselves. So basically, Mandalorian has to get this crew together. Richard Ayoade, by the way, from the IT crowd, if you're a BBC fan, does the voice of Zero, the droid pilot in this. Basically, though, this crew is trying to bust somebody out of a New Republic prison ship.
Which I love. I love that it's that, by the way. Just
yes, because we're starting to finally learn a little bit about the New Republic here.
Yeah.
The ship is primarily run by droids, which of course the Mandalorian hates. So that's kind of the thing that pushes him over to take this job. And again, it kind of shows, I think, in a way, how spread thin the New Republic is in these few years post Empire. Yeah. Right? Like, you have one human person on the ship. Everything else is droid operated.
Well, and the human, I don't believe, was supposed to be there because he had stormtrooper boots on and a stormtrooper belt. So I think that's what they were insinuating in the episode, was that he actually had somehow escaped and was assuming the mantle of a human on the ship. Because they said, like, we're not here for you, you know?
Well, I mean, that's true. But he also did have a New Republic transmitter, though, which is interesting.
That's true.
So,
maybe I'm wrong.
So I think that, maybe they just decided to take on some of the, maybe supplies was so scarce that, like, they were repurposing stormtrooper armor in certain ways.
I love being a nerd.
Yeah, no.
I love it. Yeah, no, it was just a great episode watching them go through the ship, and like you said, they're starting to peel back the layers of the Mandalorian, like, and I think, like, so someone had said to us that they're becoming a little episodic. Which, I mean, it's a TV show. I don't know why it's such a shock to people, but like here's the thing. Yeah, they don't look like they work together, but every one of these episodes we unveil something new about who the Mandalorian is or his ability. This episode was pretty battle heavy for him, and they showed that how much of an advanced warrior he really is, and how cunning he is, but also that you know, and this may turn out to be his undoing, but he has quite a bit of a heart. I mean, he didn't. Again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the episode, but he actually doesn't kill most of the people in this episode. I mean, he traps them on that ship before killing 2 people at the end. And another just great scene that these writers just get us. That it's like every episode has some callback to the original trilogy. Yeah, in some way, and it was actually brilliantly acted. Are those X-wings? Yep. I just love that scene. I just love that. And then the people flying the X-wings were all directors of the show.
They were three of the directors from the series. Yeah.
So every one of the X-wing pilots is one of the directors of an episode. Yeah, which is amazing to me. I mean, that's just a conscious. Yeah. The show is very conscious of itself. And there's a mouse droid too. There's a mouse droid in the episode too.
Yes, there's a mouse droid. That's when all the chaos really begins because Clancy Brown's character, he says, like, "Come here, little mousey."
Yeah, brilliant.
Destroy it. Yeah.
Now, looking forward again, I believe that these character developments will show something. He somehow, and this is actually just good acting, but somehow you feel like the Mandalorian and the Baby Yoda are getting closer. That they're becoming dependent on each other. Like there's an affection there. And again, this might be his undoing. This is not a galaxy where you can do this. The big question mark I have on the show right now that I want to know, and we might not get answers to this. We may. I mean, we'll find out sooner than later. Is obviously kind of what is the plot with Baby Yoda? Like, where are we going with this? Right? Yeah. Like, because we kind of established, okay, he's on the run, but no, where are we going? I have a feeling something will be revealed. And also, Esposito's character, the guy from Breaking Bad, who all we know is he's a Moff in this show, has not arrived yet. Yeah. And I have a feeling that his feat at the end of episode 5.
I think he's the next episode. I think he's going to be the next episode.
Well, he's an Imperial Warlord, which will bring the story back to the start. But I'm looking forward to that. I have a feeling, like I said, we're going into 7 and 8. I have a feeling the next 2 episodes are going to connect like the first 2 did to bookend the thing. Yeah. But man, what a brilliant! I am enjoying this every week. I am not upset every week. I mean, everything is very rich. I mean, like I said, I think you had said after episode 2 or 3, Ray, or episode 3 or 4, that it has a very Hercules feeling to it. Well, guess what? I like that show too. Yeah. And this just takes place. This just takes place in Star Wars universe 5 years after the fall of the Empire. What's interesting too is that they talk about the New Republic. We know that the New Republic gets destroyed in episode episode 7. So again, there's a lot of runway here. Some of the things too, like I know that like Jedi Knight, the video game, takes place 7 years after Endor. It would be interesting to see if they bring Kyle Katarn into this at some point. They don't have to. I mean, they don't have to. It's just like he's a former Jedi that fights for the New Republic. So it's just great. I'm just very happy right now. It's a good time to feel Star Wars. Hopefully this movie that comes out this week doesn't ruin that for everybody, which I don't think it will. We're going to talk about that again in a minute, like briefly, because we've talked about it so many times. But Mandalorian, really good. Let's talk about Fallen Order, though, because that was fun, too.
Yes, so Fallen Order, going to another different period, different era in Star Wars. This takes place between episodes 3 and 4, a few years after Order 66.
5 years. Yeah, 5 years after Order 66. Yeah.
Yeah, so you play as Cal Kestis, a young Jedi Padawan who is basically hiding out on a junk planet for all these years after his master brilliantly saves him after Order 66 happens. Played by his master, played by Travis Willingham, by the way, another great prolific voice actor. But yeah, and it's basically how he kind of turned himself off from the Force to kind of help hide himself, to kind of survive, and then in typical hero fashion, a good friend of his it gets in danger, and he has to use the smallest amount of his Force abilities, but this sends a ripple across the galaxy. And there's this order called the Sisters, who are basically they are Jedi hunters.
Yeah, Inquisitors. Yeah,
they're Inquisitors. Yeah, they are former many of them former Jedi themselves,
which was cool. Yeah, because they didn't really dive into that too much, to my knowledge, prior to this. That these are former Jedi Padawans.
Yeah, who have been converted to the dark side, and who are being used against those who resist.
Yeah. So what we should say here, we are not going to do a spoiler here because it's a video game. We wanted to give you more time, and I know that some people were waiting for our review on whether or not to buy it. So this is going to be a spoiler-free review. All right, in terms of we're not going to give away the ending or what happens at the ending, but we will talk about the characters and the story a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely a worthwhile purchase. I understand that sometimes our view is a little skewed because it's been so long since we've had a good Star Wars video game.
A good Star Wars story game.
Yes,
I do want to say that because there have been some other games that were okay. Go ahead. I'm not trying to talk over you. Sorry.
No, but that's true. I mean, but it's really since the first Force Unleashed, we really haven't had a good Star Wars story game. And this really kind of explores a time period that we don't get a lot of. It kind of goes into a whole new layer of Jedi-dom. We learn some more Jedi Masters. We learn what they were doing during Order 66 or everything leading up to Order 66. We meet new characters. Seer, who was another Jedi who basically turned herself off to the Force after she tapped into the dark side.
That's a great storyline
to escape the Inquisitors. You get this whole thing, and it's like her too. It's her redemption story as well as Cal's. You get to go build. You go on a quest to build your own lightsaber. It's
pretty fun.
It's this amazing thing. You have Force visions. You have.
There's new Force power actually. Force Echo is a new power now that we know of.
Yes.
And they also in the game. I'm not giving away the farm here with this, but in the game they talk about not every Jedi can do that.
Yeah,
which is
Cal
really interesting.
A very rare breed of Jedi who can feel the echoes of the Force on certain objects. He can tell the past and certain things that objects did or didn't do. When he can relive battles. He can relive, moments of terror, and he can get a sense of these strong emotions that are tied to objects or places in the galaxy.
It makes me wonder if I know that someone has released that in the Rise of Skywalker there is a new Force power. I wonder if that's it. Sometimes that it might not be, but I wonder if they have the ability to tap into the Force Echo. Cal Kestis is an interesting character, and so is Seer. Were you done? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to.
For sure, yeah.
When I play a Star Wars game, my biggest thing is that I'm a story guy. I'm not a Battlefront guy. All right, I mean, I'm really I enjoy the story side of Star Wars. I really enjoyed the Force Unleashed. Right, I like games like that. I really like Jedi Knight. That was a fun multiplayer too, but. I always ask myself, does this feel like Star Wars? And this game very much feels like Star Wars. And it very much feels like it's post-Order 66, which is a time period that we don't really see much of on film or games. We obviously have the Clone Wars cartoon and comic books, but this is a really good story. Also, gameplay-wise, the world is it's not massive. You get to go to several planets, and you have to go back to them, which I actually really like. I like that, when you're on one planet, you realize pretty quickly you're not going to be able to unlock everything, and the story will lead you to different planets and back to planets that you've been to before.
It's very Metroidvania-y.
Yeah, but it's not annoying, is what I'm going to say. Right. You very much know where you need to go in the game, but it's also open enough that you can kind of sidetrack if you really want to and do some more quests. I know somebody who did 100% completion on the game because he's a nerd. His name rhymes with Shmei Shmishmillo. But yeah, what I liked about this game is there's a lot of side things that have nothing to do with the game. If you just want to learn the history of a planet, or if you want to learn more about what happened on that planet. Also, this game potentially, and again, I'm saying this is not a spoiler because we don't know. This game potentially might be tapping into Jedi Prime with part of the storyline. That there's a lot of ancient Jedi stuff in this game, and the species that are involved, it sounds like they're tapping into Jedi Prime, which is the first Jedi, not the last Jedi, the first Jedi. So I found that fascinating. I'm a big Force guy. I love the mysticism behind the Force. I always have. But yeah, Ray said it too. I mean, you can really customize your lightsabers. There's some fun surprises with the lightsabers in this game. If you have never watched the trailer, but if you have, you probably know what that is.
Yeah.
If you're looking to get a game, a good Star Wars story game, takes place 5 years after Order 66. I will say this is a minor spoiler, but it's more to get you excited. You will play through Order 66 through the eyes of the main character in this game. I do not have a problem telling you that because it's if you don't know about it,
it's impactful.
Yeah, it's a good part of the game. All right, I'll put it that way. And like I said, I don't want to give away what happens, but you will play through a first-person experience or third-person experience of Order 66 in this game. Had I known that prior to buying it, I would have wanted to buy it more. That's why I'm telling all of you that at home. All right,
Yeah.
like it's very, 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 very good part of the game. So if you like Star Wars, you're looking for a game to play, it's good. Pick it up. Definitely not something you want to wait for. Check it out. Yeah, whatever. 5 out of 5 lightsabers, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Ray's the one who reviews them. I enjoyed it. You can play it quick. You can play it long. I mean, I beat it in about a week, just playing a few hours a night. It's not an incredibly long game unless you want it to be. Check it out. Fallen Order.
Yeah, no, I mean, if there's any knock against it, I would say it probably doesn't have a lot of replayability.
It doesn't. Yeah, but that's not why you play a story game, right? Like
right. No, that's exactly. And you might want to replay it. You might want to replay it on a harder difficulty level. You might really want that challenge.
I missed playing it after I finished it. If that's any consolation, like I don't have the time to go back and play it. But like I missed playing it at night. Like I wanted to keep playing it. So, we'll do more of a spoiler cast on that in a few weeks, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, well, at least I want to discuss the ending of the game, but I don't want to
do
it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
now.
we won't spoil the ending at this moment, but so expect part 2 in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, after everybody's picked it up for the holiday and gotten through it as well.
If you're getting it, let us know. Comment below if you're getting it or if you played it and what you thought of it, but don't put any spoilers. Jerk.
So and now for our final geek thing. Speaking of video games, our final geek thing of the day on the docket. This will also lead us into our sports. It was announced last week that MLB The Show, which has been a Sony exclusive developed by Sony San Diego for almost 15 years now, and it's really the only really good baseball game out there. Is the premier baseball game. Is fine. They've basically worked it out where not next year, but the year after, starting in 2021, you're going to start seeing MLB The Show come to Xbox and Switch.
God. Thank goodness.
So that you'll have baseball, a proper baseball game on all 3 major consoles. And it is about damn
Yeah, what a dated deal that became.
Yeah.
Right? Like during the console wars where people felt like they had to like stranglehold different properties. What a ridiculous deal. I mean, it kind of made sense for 1 year. Like there was a year that I was like, oh, I get it. They're trying to get me to buy a PlayStation, and it just like it's not how this works. So
when PS3 was trying desperately to claw its way back against Xbox 360, they needed every feather they could have in their hat.
Yeah, and they did. They did come back. To be fair, all right. So maybe it was a good move. It was dated and. Like again, can you imagine like Madden being on one system? Imagine that. Like it doesn't work. So
well, I mean,
I've been wanting to play baseball for a while too, and you know that. I've been talking about that. I've been wanting to play video baseball for a long time, especially now that my team's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, remember, Madden is the reason why this all happened.
Yeah,
for those of you who don't know, back in the mid 2000s, EA basically threw a lot of money around and got the monopoly and got the sole license rights to the NFL. In exchange, because you have to remember there was a game called NFL 2K back then. In exchange...
No, and ESPN, right? Or was that ESPN? Sorry.
No, ESPN
had football,
had died off at that point.
Okay, cool.
So it was basically... It was EA and 2K, and basically EA was like, we'll let you have baseball. And so the rule was that unless you were a first party, which is Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo... Only 2K could have the license to Major League Baseball. Unfortunately, and what continues to happen is 2K is really bad at making sports games. And their baseball series died just in the same way that now NBA and WWE is starting to die. Yep. They just really don't know what they're doing in terms of resource allotment. And so after about like 2007, 2008, MLB 2K basically died off, and the only people who had stepped up in that time to fill the gap was Sony. So MLB The Show, because they were developed, Sony was the developer, it was an exclusive thing. But because nobody else in that time period, and because 2K is in such shambles with their sports division, nobody else has been able to really provide a quality baseball game. There's been RBI baseball, but that's terrible. That's made by Major League Baseball themselves.
They're not on the same level. It's just not.
No.
Yeah.
And
they're not
Sony
fun
San
to play.
Diego, so, I mean, I think part of the reason why they're waiting a year is it's going to give them time to ramp up with this extra hardware. Finally is like, listen, it's going to be developed by Sony, and all the other companies have kind of agreed because this is also, you're starting to see this now with cross-play across consoles.
Yeah.
The video game wars are basically over, folks. It's the idea of being exclusive to a console. Yes, there are going to be certain franchises for sure, but you see this with games like Minecraft and others that are like you can play. Yeah. Switch players can play with Microsoft players, can play with PlayStation players.
Here's the other thing too,
step in that ending.
Ray, something to think about here is you're the gaming expert here, but like also you have to look at what's happening around the consoles now. Okay, you have the Google gaming. Yeah, you have Stadia. You have Apple Games. All right, you have these streaming services, if you want to call them that, starting to develop. So they can't fight each other anymore. They have to remain strong because here's the thing: just the iPhone app game market alone, like it's massive. We don't talk about that enough in gaming because I think gaming doesn't want to acknowledge it. To be fair, but it is massive. What I mean, I believe app games might make more. Is that? I mean.
I don't know if they make more.
It's not more money. It's more players. I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, that's
right.
Yes, that is true. I believe because it's very easy for anybody that everybody has a smartphone at this point. Yeah, and I'm sure that just to pass the time, even you've downloaded a game or two onto your phone.
And they're good. I mean, like Apple games. I mean, they look unbelievable on my phone. They look unbelievable. I mean, so here's the real question: is how far away is iPhone or whatever from being able to create some of these kind of games that we're playing right now on an Xbox or a PlayStation? And again, it's not close. I'm not saying like it's tomorrow, but the consoles you have no time anymore to do this. And when you look at what Switch is doing, right, and the way Nintendo has done this, like my prediction is that in 5 years or less, it's like I can play it on my phone, I can play it on my Xbox, I can play it anywhere. I'm going to have to download an Xbox app.
We're actually already there.
Yeah.
If your internet connection is strong enough, you can play Microsoft games, Xbox games on your phone now.
Yeah, there you go. So that's the direction it's going in. So like I'm saying, like we're talking about next console systems. I wonder when the console just becomes an app. I mean, at some point the phone's going to be powerful enough to handle it.
Well, I think it's a matter of the internet, and I think people getting everybody, because you have to remember a lot of people, especially in Middle America, don't have the internet speeds that we enjoy on the coasts. Yes. So I think once the infrastructure catches up to where it needs to be,
interesting.
In a wider scale, that's one of the big reasons why Xbox X still has a disk drive.
So
I'm not gonna not call it that, by the way. Man. When for a long time they wanted to move away. That's why the Xbox One S doesn't even have a disc drive. Is that they're going to get to a point where they don't want to do discs anymore. They don't want to produce discs anymore because my box is here, so it's recently opened.
I don't buy games on disc anymore. I don't. I mean, and I know what you're saying.
For the most part, I don't either. For the most part, but like it.
Can I help you transition?
Yes, because now, so we've gone down a gaming trip, but we're done with the geek stuff.
Wait, ready? Speaking of infrastructures that need an improvement, Ray, the Yankees pitching staff made a great improvement this week.
Yes, we're just gonna touch upon it.
Just touch, because everyone knows.
Both of our teams have made some big improvements. Didi Gregorius is now the shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies. Huge upgrade for you guys. And he signed only a 1-year deal. In the typical, let me prove to you guys I can still do it because he had a bad year last year coming off Tommy John surgery. I think it's a steal for you guys to get Didi, honestly.
Yeah. Phillies are a better team than people realize. Go ahead.
Yes. No, for sure. I think you're going to contend for the division this year for sure.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Garrett Cole, record deal, $36 million a year, $324 million, 9-year deal. Basically, will end his career as a Yankee. Yeah, they got the best pitcher in baseball. They needed to do that. They cracked open the wallet. Steven Strasburg stays with the Nationals, by the way.
Yep.
And Anthony Rendon goes to the Angels. Those were some of the biggest free agents on the market. So
the Yankees are like the Joker. Oh, you just couldn't let me go, could you? No, you Cole, you complete us. It's just the most Yankee move the Yankees could make, and they did. And listen, you know what? For him, if I read the hot stove news correctly, he didn't care where he went in terms of location. They had the money. It's the New York Yankees. It's every kid's dream, whether they want to admit that or not.
He's a Yankee fan. He grew up a Yankee fan.
I mean, can I tell you what I'm happy about with this?
What?
He's not in the National League.
Yeah,
that's what I'm happy about, and I don't have to play him probably for 4 years. All right, so like I'm serious. It's like defense here, but like they definitely didn't want him in our division if he's not on the Phillies, right? Yeah. I mean, Cole Hamels went to Atlanta, which is weird. Yeah, okay, and it would have been a nostalgia pickup for us. He's not Cole Hamels of 2008.
He's not what he once was. He's a fourth or fifth starter at this point.
Yeah, we get it. I get the move, but congratulations to you. We took the coach that wasn't good enough for you after not winning the World Series.
Ugh. I still hate that.
I'm very happy about it right now. So, speaking of that, because we're short on time here, a lot of good hot stove baseball news happening right now. If you guys are into baseball, it's been actually pretty interesting offseason so far. It's probably going to cool off now.
Bumgarner signed with the Diamondbacks yesterday. That's a big deal for 5 years. No longer staying in the division to take on his former team, the Giants. Yeah, that's a big deal. That's going to be interesting.
Do have to transition to our weekly NFL bitch fest, where we complain about the NFL. I got to say this. Actually, a friend of mine said this. The NFL is just handing the XFL like what not to do. Yeah. Just like I mean, and again, I don't want to hype the XFL up too much because I said it's not going to be the NFL, and in terms of talent, okay, at least I don't believe it's going to be, but it's going to be fun. And the NFL every week gives them like, well, just don't do this. For example, yesterday, somehow Dak Prescott let the Seahawks have the ball at the kickoff and in the second half because he didn't defer. And again, I don't want to explain that rule, but
actually he did. They actually went. They had to go back to the
tape, which is freaking. But we're reviewing coin tosses now.
Yes, because if you for some reason you have to say the word defer.
Have to,
in order to get the ball at the beginning of the second half.
So what he said, for those of you who didn't watch, he said, "We'll kick." Okay, we'll kick the ball, right? So what happens is that if you don't use the word defer, that means they kick and then Seattle gets the ball in the second half again.
Yeah.
Like this is so stupid, right? Yeah. Like no fan watch. I have to believe that even Seahawks fans are like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like It's simple. You pick which side you're going to defend. Yeah. You get the ball in the second half.
It was against the Rams, by the way.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I apologize. I'm just mixing up. It was against the Rams. I apologize. The LA Rams, okay? But this is the type of stuff. Like, this is not hard. All right? Yeah. Like, now they're going to have to legit create a rule, or every quarterback or everybody in the world is going to have to know how to defer. I just can't stand that. I cannot stand these stupid, dumb things that are happening in the NFL this year. That wasn't even the dumbest thing that's happening right now. But we'll say it. I thank you for correcting me. It is the Rams. As Sean McVay must be losing his mind right now with everything that's going on a clear Super Bowl loss hangover for the Rams.
Oh yeah, I mean this is a clear Jekyll and Hyde team. They're basically out of the playoffs now.
Yeah. I was like Loki yesterday. You had one job, just the one.
Yeah.
Right? And they couldn't beat the Cowboys, thus creating the worst divisional matchup in the history of the NFC East. Probably not the worst, but yes.
I mean, at the very least, we know now that you'll at least have an 8-8 record from the winner of the NFC East. They will not have a losing record.
Yeah, we knew that. I didn't think that would happen, but here's the deal, and we'll talk about this on Monday. Is that and it's not a deal done, but if the Cowboys win next week, Cowboys play the Eagles. Whoever wins this pretty much has the division to win the last week of the season. Yeah. But even I'm sorry, if the Cowboys win, they do win the division. No, they don't. If the Cowboys win and lose. And we win the last game.
If the Cowboys do beat you, they win the division because they will have all the tiebreakers.
That's right. So the Cowboys will win the division if they win on Sunday, if the game is still on Sunday, And then if the Eagles win on Sunday against the Cowboys, they most likely will need to beat the Giants the last week of the year to win the division.
There are certain scenarios where the Cowboys would have certain tiebreakers. And
if you're outside the division, it's funny but exciting because it is a big game. And when the Cowboys and Eagles play each other, it is a good game. It doesn't matter. I expect. Well, I shouldn't say. I don't expect anything from these teams. I was going to say I expect both teams to show up, but you just don't know this year. The Eagles with their completely depleted receiving core. But it will be very interesting as we head towards the NFL postseason to see which team from the NFC East will lose in the first week of the playoffs.
Either
most likely.
It's looking like to be the Niners or the Seahawks. The Niners upset at the last second. Again, speaking of bad plays in the NFL, again, folks, why does the ball not have a sensor in it so that we know when it crosses the plane?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this. The Niners were up by 5. The Falcons, who have really turned it around in the second half of the season, really turned around and and they've beaten a lot of good teams. They beat the Saints. They beat the Niners yesterday. They've beaten the Panthers. The Falcons have really woken up and become the team that we all thought they were going to be coming into the season. But
the Falcons are who we thought they were.
Yeah. Last second, 5 seconds left in the game. Matt Ryan gets it to, I think it was Julio Jones, on the goal line, and originally was ruled down at the 1. They or like the 1-inch line. They review it. They call the touchdown. The Falcons win the game in the last play of the game. I mean, it does clearly look like that he broke the plane. The ball breaks the plane. That is a touchdown. But again, why do we not have a sensor in the ball that can tell when this happens?
The only way it's not a touchdown is if the knee is down prior to the ball crossing the plane.
Correct.
Then he is down wherever that is. Again, I did want to say that because some people think, if he crosses the plane. No, he has to have his feet on the ground, no knee, no elbow down prior to the plane. But if it crosses the plane and he's got his hands on it, it's a touchdown.
Yes.
At
and
least
he was
by my
clearly
ruling.
Still upright when he broke the plane.
Yes.
And then was pushed back by the Niner defense.
Man, this year has been maybe the most frustrating officiating year I've ever seen in the NFL. I mean, big calls blown in the past withstanding, like New Orleans last year. Just I think we've had 1 week this year where we didn't complain about the refs. And we don't do that. You and I don't do that. We don't.
No, we're not those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just been horrible. But speaking of horrible, we got to spend a couple minutes on it. Spygate 2, the New England Patriots advanced scout got caught recording with the Bengals sideline.
Yes.
And it's very obvious. I actually saw Jay Glazer shared a video of it.
He showed the video footage. Yeah,
they
Jay
are
Glazer
clearly recording.
It. Yep.
You can hear the guy in the video like, I don't see the advanced scout here. You're not even recording the field. It's just on the sideline. And now the question has come up. There's a few things. So an advanced scout obviously goes ahead to the teams that they're going to play, number one. Number two, that person reports to someone within the Patriots organization. In the video that Jay Glazer showed, he's like, I didn't know I couldn't do this. My attitude with that is, if you didn't know you could do this, why the hell do you have this job? Number one.
Yep.
That is unaccountable, and I don't believe it. Number one.
Well, at the very least, I can tell you this guy's probably not going to have a job very much longer.
He's clearly fired. Okay. Yeah. Now the question comes is, how far back does this go? Does this go to Bill Belichick? Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is where you kind of have to put fandom aside and everything aside, and I will come out and say that this is plausible deniability for him. I do not think that he had anything to do with this. I like 95%. Okay, because they've already been fined for it. They've already had to bench Brady for stuff. Not this, but like they've been through enough that I have a hard time believing.
Draft picks,
I just have a hard time. Yeah, that's a big one, losing a draft pick. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that they're that stupid. I really do. Okay. Now with that said, this scout reports to someone. Okay, someone told them what to do or what not to do, so it's got to go into the chain, and there will be punishments for the Patriots for this.
Oh, yes. You're going to see fines. They might lose draft picks again.
Yeah, and maybe they should, okay, because it's in an organization that already has a bad rep for this, it's unacceptable. Now, somebody might say, well, why would they do that? Well, here's the not coaching. Here's the tactical side of this. It's a new coach. It's a new sideline with the Bengals, okay? So they have no film on this team. All right, so someone probably got the smart idea to do that. They got caught. They deserve to be punished. All right, and then I always have to say this, especially with the Pats, but if they're doing it, who else is doing it? Mm-hmm. All right, and like I said, it really pisses me off. It's really disgraceful. And he got caught, man. How do you get caught? And they go, then they turned him in. And like you said, he's going to get fired, and someone within the Patriots organization is going to be in deep poodoo.
Yeah, deep poodoo for sure. No, but it's true. It's true. It goes also back to like even a few years ago with the Saints, the bounty scandal. Like, you think the Saints were the only team that had a bounty system in the NFL? Like, no, that's not how that works. Bounties have been. I remember Lawrence Taylor talking about like a bounty like system with the Giants. Like, I mean, that's like I mean. I don't think that's. I don't know. Might have led to Joe Theismann snapping his leg, but like, I mean,
probably got some money for that. Probably got paid for that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's the thing though. Like, this is football. This has been going on for years.
Yeah.
And so, like, the fact that like now, I mean, here's the thing though. Like you said, like who else is doing it? Also, everybody has a camera now. So if you're a camera guy and you think that you can get away with this stuff, everybody's being watched everywhere now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this guy is particularly stupid and should have known better.
Yeah, especially with the Pats. I mean, they're looking for you. They're looking for you to do it, right? Yeah. Like that's how could they get caught? Because people are looking for them to do it. That's the team that always does it. So like that's how they got caught. All right, but like, what were you thinking, man? Like, come on with that. Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, like, what's going to happen is they're going to put like a roof over the sideline.
Yeah.
Right? But I want to touch on that. Ridiculous. You deserve to be fined. Obviously, all the other 31 teams are on notice now not to do that or don't get caught. All right. But yeah, it's unfortunate for the Patriots organization. Also want to say, and I'm going to call them out. We're going to go a little long today, but I'm going to call it out. Pats fans, when they lost 2 weeks ago to KC, in a week that was really crazy. I know you talked about this with their equipment last week.
Yeah.
Pats fans, pretty disgraceful after the game and during the game, kind of taunting Mahomes' girlfriend and his family. For a fan base that talks so proud, I was actually a little surprised to see that. But what I want to say is this, and I'm going to defend my own team here. Eagles fans, notoriously horrible, and they are, but this just goes to show you that just no one is scot-free on this. There's bad fans everywhere. There are a lot of good Philadelphia fans. There's a lot of good Pats fans too.
Yes.
Okay, but like no team is free of this. Okay, and like a player's girlfriend should not have to go hide at a football game. All right. First of all, Patrick Mahomes should be celebrated right now. He seems to be a really good human being. He's never been caught doing anything stupid, just like LeBron James. Right? Yeah. And your quarterback is 42, 43, 42?
Yeah, 42. Brady's 42.
You're 42. Give me a break. I mean, it's like, how much more? I mean, give me a break. Come on. I had to say that. I didn't get a chance to say it last week. It's like Tom Brady is going to be on the Mount Rushmore of football stardom, Ray. Forever. He's going to be up there forever, along with several other people. And it gets me thinking that you might be thinking of an idea for the mashup this week.
Yeah, so for the mashup or our question of the week this was something I came up with over the course of the week because we were thinking about how this goes back to also the Ghostbusters, how revered that franchise is for me and Lee, and we talked about that earlier in the episode. And so I got to thinking, what would be the Mount Rushmore of geekdom? And let us know too. Comment below, comment on the video, comment on SoundCloud, and comment everywhere else. What's your personal Mount Rushmore of geekdom?
That's key. Yeah. Okay, so like I was actually just going to ask you that. So we're not talking about what is the Mount Rushmore of geekdom, because that is going to be really hard to do. It is what is your Mount Rushmore
personal
of geekdom?
One,
okay,
right? Because
we'll try and do the ultimate one at a time.
There are definitely some things in my personal one that I don't think I would put on the ultimate one, like the true star, the true Mount Rushmore of geekdom. So I will. Yeah. So we want to know what your personal Mount Rushmore is in geekdom. And I don't know. Do you want us to go first, Lee, or do you want me to go first?
No, I want you to go first. I've got mine, but I want you to hear yours. I'm more interested in yours.
So again.
Wait. Sorry. The rules again. We're excluding WWE wrestlers and because they're athletes in our opinion. Anything else we're excluding before we do this?
I believe that's it. This is one thing where we can allow Deadpool if you want.
Yeah, but he won't be on it. But yeah,
he won't, but we can. Yeah, he won't.
He's climbing the side of it with dynamite. There are both of our.
For me, my first one is Ghostbusters, right? For sure.
Wow, how are you gonna do that? So that's a franchise. Are you picking a person or like?
I'm picking franchises.
Okay,
so
okay,
I'm
fair
picking,
enough.
I'm picking franchises. If you want to do it as a symbol, you can do the ghost with the red inside
fair.
the red circle.
Fair. That's gonna make this easier because I had individuals on mine.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that makes this a lot different for me. But I'll do individuals. You do the franchise.
Okay, I'll do the franchises. Also, an individual and a franchise. Batman.
Yeah, for you, absolutely.
He's
at the top. He's the George Washington of yours.
Right, exactly. Super Mario Brothers
has to be. Yep.
Yep. And then finally, and this is why I went franchise, because I couldn't think of I guess if I had to go with just one, I would say Donatello, but the Ninja Turtles.
Oh God, that is good too. Yeah. Well, right. I did the hard work and narrowed it down. You scapegoated yourself. Actually, no, I didn't know you could do franchise.
Okay, so I also Ray Stantz from Ghostbusters, Batman, Donatello from Ninja Turtles, and Mario.
Donatello, really? Donatello?
Yeah, Donatello.
Interesting.
He's the best turtle.
I mean, they die without him. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like,
yeah.
He can defeat enemies without fighting, which is really the way of, if you read Sun Tzu's The Art of War, which I'm sure most of you haven't done, but I have, because I'm an actual nerd and geek on top of them. There's a difference between geekdom and nerdom. Like, geekdom is what we're talking about on the show. Yeah. Nerdom is like, I like science. And Ray and I are both of those things.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You can be a nerd and a geek, but they
they
are different.
Like, my wife's just a nerd. She's like a bio nerd. Massive bio geek nerd doctor, like, scientist. Like, but she can actually solve world problems for real.
Yeah.
Like, she can save me if I get cut open. My geek knowledge probably will force me to do something like, oh, we got to put pressure on it, but you'll die. Let's just be honest. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Now that we've established all that, my geek Mount Rushmore of specific people, Ray. Okay, number 1, Darth Vader. Has to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, on mine especially. Darth Vader is, in my opinion, the greatest villain of all time. I'm just going to say it. I mean, there's other villains now that are more fun that have evolved, but they all spawn back to him, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Okay, the dark side of everything spawns back to Vader, in my opinion. That's number 1. Okay? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Great. That's a great one.
Number 2.
Star Wars would actually be in my all-time.
It has to be. It has to be.
But that's not what not what we're talking about here.
But Lord Vader, number one of my 4. Okay, number 2 is Link from Zelda.
Ooh.
Because I've gone on too many adventures with him and his, I don't know what you want to call them, paradoxal other selves. Right. Yeah. Link is on mine. We've talked about this. I played that Ocarina of Time so much, but the other games as well. Just the original Zelda, played that a lot. So Link, not Zelda, but Link. Okay. Now the next one is very personal to me, and I have a hard time picking. Maybe you can help me pick. It's Marty McFly, Dr. Emmett Brown, or the DeLorean. So I'm gonna pick the DeLorean with Dr. Emmett L. Brown, Marty McFly, and Einstein. And you can even throw in Clara Clayton. You can throw her in. They're all in.
All jam-packed into that DeLorean.
Yeah, there might not be enough room for Jennifer, but since that actress changed twice, once to Elizabeth Shue, she tends to do better when you just leave her out of the DeLorean, as we found out. Okay, that was a deep dive. Yeah. Now this is where it gets hard. Now I'm like, okay, Batman, Superman, Super Mario. Like, this is where it gets really hard because you have to pick one final person, and I can't pick athletes. I can't put Wayne Gretzky on mine.
Yeah.
Right. So who am I going to pick? Who do I pick?
Just geek them.
I mean, I've already picked a video game character, so I'm going to push Mario aside. Now, Mario is all-time better than Link, but Link is my own personal. I do love Mario, though. Okay, but Link was more epic. I don't want to pick Batman because you did. I don't want to pick Superman because he should. No. Yeah. No offense to Soups. So I'm going to pick someone that I have to pick. Now, this is someone who's personal to me. This hero, if you want to call him that, has been around in my life for a long time. And if I don't say this name, and somehow my son listens to this podcast retroactively in like 15 years, I have to pick Wolverine.
Yeah.
All right, for 2 reasons. One is because he's awesome. Yeah. 2 is because those horns would look awesome on a Mount Rushmore. And I'd put him on the right side so he's looking at the rest of them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you could just hear him saying, "What's up, bub?" So,
I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is sit in this mountain.
Right? Yeah. Right. So, Darth Vader, Link, Marty McFly. I'm sorry, the DeLorean with Marty McFly, Emil Brown, Einstein, and Claire Clayton, because Claire Clayton's awesome, but she gets a bad rep. All right, and Wolverine with the yellow costume from the Fox cartoon, or I'll even go orange brown. I could do orange brown too. Okay, not Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. I like Hugh Jackman, I do. Wolverine. That is my Mount Rushmore. Do you hear the applause, Ray? Do you hear the applause out there? For those of you watching, I'm not clapping.
Man. It's a good one. Like, right. I am. That's a good one. I think we both had really good ones. But
I do.
We want to hear what you guys had in terms of your personal geekdom Mount
and all time, right? But let's be all time's going to be Star Wars, DC, Marvel, Nintendo. I mean,
yeah, probably, yeah.
I mean, Ghostbusters is not big enough to be on the all-time one, unfortunately, not yet.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's something from those franchises will likely be the all-time.
Yes,
all time.
Yes. Swear to me.
Yeah,
that's a throwback to early in the episode. If you're still listening, good for you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that does it for us this week for Geeks Who Like
Sports. We could keep going, but
we could.
The show's already an
unfortunately,
hour.
There's stuff in the mailbag. Like there's like we could like, but unfortunately, it's been a long episode. We got a lot done this week. Next week,
yes, go ahead.
Next week will be special because I will be back on the East Coast, so we'll be trying to do a live episode again. So tune in, stay tuned to the Facebook.
It will be a Star Wars spoiler. It will be. We will not be holding back next week.
We will not hold back. We typically wait an extra week, but we just simply cannot wait. So if you don't see Star Wars opening weekend next Monday, be prepared for spoilers from Lee and me.
You need to let us know why you haven't seen it. There are a few legit reasons. One, you were too ill to go. Two, your kids are jerks. That's it. I just want you to know I have children. I am leaving the scene of the crime to see this film. With another relative, my blood brother in Virginia. We'll see. I am driving to see this movie. So let us know why you wouldn't be able to see it. Otherwise, be prepared to be spoiled. I mean, let's be honest. If it's not us, it's someone else who's going to spoil it for you.
Yeah, I think people have been waiting for this for so long that it's going to be very hard to hold back.
But, Ray, before we go, I just want to enjoy this last moment of feeling this good about Star Wars, because next week we're either going to feel better or a lot worse, but I just want to feel the zen, the balance of the Force right now for 1 second. Okay.
All right, cool.
I felt it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, we're on iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever else you can hear podcasts. Join the Facebook group. The website is geekswholikesports.com. geekswholikesports@gmail.com is our email. We really appreciate all you guys for listening and sticking and being with us for this whole time. It has been a great year. We're not done yet. Like I said, next week we will be live from Lee's house in Philadelphia. At least that's the plan right now.
It doesn't sound as glamorous when you say it.
Yeah.
Live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's Lee's basement.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it'll probably be his kitchen or living room. But dining room, actually. The dining room. Lee's got a lot of rooms. I got a new room. My room has been renovated. I'm just rambling here, folks. That's how you can tell I'm kind of tired. Thank you all so much for listening. For Lee, I'm Ray. This has been Geeks Who Like Sports, episode number 36. We will see you next week.